Hey there, and welcome to the Totally Fierce Crochet channel. My name's Thomas, and before I even start telling you what today's video is all about, I'm sure you're about to get a glimpse of it already. First of all, I have to send out a huge thank you to everyone for making my last video about how to crochet that looks like knitted to such a huge success. I had no idea. I was totally unprepared for what was happening, and also a big welcome to all the new subscribers to my Totally Fierce Crochet channel. I'm so happy to have you with me, and I can't wait to show you what else I have for you. This truly was such a blast, and I had so much fun reading all your comments, all the questions. Okay, some of the comments weren't that nice, but I guess that's normal when you have such a successful post that you would also attract people that aren't that nice, but so be it. Here on my channel, really everyone is welcome to join me on my crochet journey, and the last video was probably only a glimpse of what's to come, because my head is already exploding of ideas of things to make with the waistcoat stitch and this technique. And this also leads me to today's video, because of course I had other plans. I finally wanted to make my very first crochet Christmas baubles, but I cancelled it because I would rather spend some more waistcoat stitch time with you. And I also wanted to answer some of the questions that a few of you had about the stitch, about the technique, increases, decreases, and what you can do with it. So this video is basically my bonus, my personal Christmas gift for you, because as you can see, Christmas is coming and it's the season of giving. So my little gift for you are 6 brand new and totally free patterns that you can use when you want to work with the waistcoat stitch. Of course, you can take the patterns as well and knit them or do whatever you want with them. Corner to corner crochet, for example. Use them, feel free to make whatever you desire. These are all for you. You will find the link to them in the description. And of course, you have seen it already. There's the reindeer pattern and what I think is super cool, the Merry Christmas pattern. So when you have it, you can put it on your head. I won't put it down now, because in addition of giving you some answers of the questions that you had and showing you also some new tips and tricks to use with the waistcoat stitch, I am also going to show you in this tutorial how to make yourself a reversible headband. This was something that I personally wanted to try, and what better way to have one side with a message and the other one with a cute visual. But those who know me a bit longer know that this cannot be everything, because I will also give you an idea on how to make a super fun and super cute hat that starts basically with a waistcoat stitch headband. And I think it's just super cool. Now I look like Ali G. If you're a bit older, you definitely know who Ali G was. For everyone else, Google always helps. So that's right, you can transform every headband easily into a full beautiful hat. And of course, a little extra is of course the pom-pom, and it can never be too extra. So I hope you're ready, because I am. Let's go. And before I forget it again, this video turned out a little bit longer than I thought it would, so feel free to use the chapters of this video to skip to the part that interests you most. So let's start by taking a closer look into the waistcoat stitch again, because apparently there are 2 ways of doing the waistcoat stitch. And if you, for example, take a look at my headband here, I mean, it's really something that you don't see at first glance, is that the stitches are not 100% straight going up. They are more shifting towards the side a little bit. Personally, it doesn't bug me at all, but as some of you pointed out that there is like a more correct way of doing the waistcoat stitch, I thought I would just show you both options, and then in the end, again, it's completely up to you which one makes more sense for you and which one you might find easier to do. So I created this little swatch here just so I can show you the differences. So the way how I learned it, which is apparently the incorrect way, would be to like go in between the two single crochets here on top and then go like straight into the V. And when you look at the back, then the hook comes out in between the two legs here on the back, and there's this vertical loop right here, so it goes right in there, and then you would pull it through and close it to create the next V. And I mean, it's barely visible, but the stitches are on top of each other, but they are slightly going to the side. But there's another way to do the stitches that apparently doesn't tilt to either one of the sides. So here's the other option that apparently some people call the correct one. I'm not an expert. I could expand my search for it to find out what the real original way of doing it is. But for this other way of doing it, you would go basically underneath that front part and then push it backwards so that those two vertical bars that we had before, they are right here, are now pushed more to the side, and then you would finish the stitch like we had it before, and like that you can even see it a little bit that the stitch itself is going now to the other side. But I mean, it really is up to you. Personally, I think just pushing through that stitch is so much easier and faster than trying to find the space somewhere in between and then going back and pushing it through. I mean, the difference is so small, so I would just leave it up to you. Do whatever way feels easier for you or where you feel like it's more practical. And if you are not measuring out everything and trying to see if they are really 100% on top of each other, just do as you wish, because in the end, I mean, by looking at this, it looks pretty awesome to me, and I'm absolutely fine with it. So go ahead, do as you want to. Which now leads me to another topic, which would be to show you how to make increases, which is actually pretty easy because it's the same way like you would increase a single crochet. And for that, you would go in the next waistcoat stitch, make the next one, and then go back into the same V spot here and just place a second in there, and just like that you already have your increase and then can continue moving along. So in case you want to make something where your work gets wider, this is how you would do the increases. And now for the decreases. Again, there are multiple options to make a decrease with the waistcoat stitch. Maybe there's another correct one or incorrect one. So the first option is as if we would do a single crochet two together. So we go into the next waistcoat stitch, grab the yarn, pull it through, Then we go into our next waistcoat stitch, do the same thing. You now have 3 loops, then yarn over and pull through all 3 of them. And from there you just continue and make sure that, because here the space from here to the next waistcoat stitch is a bit wide, so I would recommend you to like really push the work together so that in the end you don't have any bigger gaps, because decreasing will always result in like pushing the stitches that you already had together. And maybe then with this also the tilted stitches from the incorrect waistcoat stitch will then get more straight. Who knows? But I will just show you how to crochet over the decrease, and let me just finish this round and then get back to you. So here we go. Now we are at the point where we had the decrease, and to crochet over it you would basically go underneath that front bar, which was the right, or then if you're right-handed, the left part of the previous waistcoat stitch. And when you push it upwards, you see the other waistcoat stitch underneath it, and then we go in there, yarn over and pull through to close it. And like that you will have, this one here was the decrease, and here's the new V stitch right on top of it. And from there we can continue as we did it before. So it is visible, but not that much, and I think it's still like quite an easy way of doing it. But there's another one that you can try. So here we go, option number 2. And for option number 2, for the decrease, you would go into the next waistcoat stitch and then go over from the back all the way to the front, and then we go in to the next waistcoat stitch and push it through, yarn over, and now we have to pull through all of them until we have the 2 loops, then yarn over and pull through, and that one creates a decrease that looks a little bit like this. I mean, personally, I think the first version looks a bit nicer and less obvious than this cluster right here. So you do whatever is easier, but I'm pretty sure that just crocheting 2 of them together is probably the easiest. There's also a third version that you can try. For that, it would be good to keep your work as tight as possible. So we are not going in either one of the 2 waistcoat stitches that we are trying to decrease. Instead, we are going in between them and just picking the back loop of the previous top of the waistcoat stitches, and then just pull it through, pull everything tight, yarn over and pull through, so we create a V in between the other 2 V's, and then from there we go in the next waistcoat stitch and close it, and like that you also get a pretty nice and even decrease. So 3 options for you. Choose the one that you feel the most comfortable with. If you want to have it super clean, then probably this version would be the version to go to, and even though you get like a little bit of a hole in here, and if you don't mind having like a little bulk or something in front like we have it here, go with this, or choose the first version wherever it is. So probably this will be then the version that works the best. If you can't even see it, then You do you, as I always say it, and just have fun with it. And this was it about the stitch and increases and decreases. And we can now go to the fun part. So here we go, the fun part. My little bonus for you are 6 different new free patterns that you can use to make your waistcoat stitch projects, either with a headband or you expand it to a hat. I just wanted to give you a little bit more, and also as a big thank you for all the support in the past few weeks. So again, you find the PDF in the description, so download it, keep it, do whatever you like to do with it, make the pattern, sell the items. It's all for free. I created them especially for this tutorial. And as you can see, again, we have the left-handed version and the right-handed version. And sometimes there's an A and B. For this one here, here's the white reindeer, and here's a darker red reindeer. It's a bit hard to see, but trust me, it's not only hard to see in here, it is also a bit tricky to see on the finished headband. I mean, I just had to make it to see how it would look like. I think it's super fun and super pretty. Of course, using more than 2 colors is a bit challenging. If you see the backside, you would then have like bigger strands of colors, so don't crochet too tight. But overall, I think it looks just so pretty, so Christmassy. I made a mistake right here, so this tail here is a bit longer than the other ones, but so be it. When I saw it, I was like already up here, and I was like, I'm not going back. And then we have this one here, which I also made. This looks then like this. Super pretty. I love the colors. I mean, you all mentioned that you loved my blue yarn that I chose for the other headband. So this one is just super gorgeous in my opinion. And let's see what else we have. We have a snowflake, which I could imagine also pretty nicely. Maybe with this lighter blue here and some white. So this is like typical winter. Then since Valentine's Day is coming, I wanted to give you a little idea for what pattern to make for Valentine's Day. So this would be it with the big heart. Then some more graphical things that would then later on go along the headband. And then, of course, since Christmas is coming soon, you get a super big pattern with Merry Christmas written on your waistcoat stitch design. And there are 2 versions, because of course here you would need 70 stitches, and for this one you would need just 51 stitches. So I decided to make a longer version and a shorter version. So feel free to use it. Maybe that's also a good point to tell you that some of you were asking whether the waistcoat stitch only works in the round. I mean, it's correct. If you want to do color work like this, with the stitches on top of each other, it's definitely better to have it in the round. However, you can make designs like this in crochet in the flat if you would then just cut the yarn and then go back to the start and attach the yarn again for each round. I've seen tutorials doing that, and of course in the end you would have to weave in all those ends. But I mean, if it's like a smaller project or something short, then you can definitely do it. Another alternative would be the Tunisian crochet knit stitch, where you would also get like those typical knitted V's. It's a nice stitch. For me personally, it only works with one color because changing colors in Tunisian crochet can be very tricky, especially for the return pass. So try it out. I haven't tried it yet to see if this works or not. There's another version which is called nuking. It's like knitting but with a crochet hook in front, and in the back of the crochet hook there's a hole to pull a yarn piece through it so that you can carry it along. And I haven't showed you anything about nuking yet. If you're interested in seeing any of them, please leave me a comment. I'm absolutely open to show you how to do that if you're interested and if you want to learn a new technique. So send me a comment so I know you're interested, and then who knows, I will do another bonus or a separate full tutorial on how to make that. But for now, let's focus more on the round stuff, because now I'm going to show you how to make this headband reversible so that you have a full design on both sides. This is especially for this one where like the back is super ugly. It works really nice with designs like this because then we can hide the ugly backside on the inside basically. And this is what I'm going to show you next, and I will do this as my inside of my reindeer headband. And for that I will just find the beginning and the end. I think it was the beginning was somewhere here, because now, I mean, this one here has 70 stitches. This headband has 6 times, let me just see, 6 times the pattern of 14 stitches, so it's 84. 84 minus 70 is 14. Divided by 2 is 7. So this one here should be in my 7th stitch from this one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is going in here. And then 4 stitches after that. 1, 2, 3, 4. I go in there. Now this looks more right. And so when we go from here, we need the 14 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And from there, we take this one out again. 1, 2, 3, and 4, just like this. And now what I'm going to do is to like quickly count so that at least I have the beginning of the end of each of the letter of the words. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 21. So just so I know that here then the word Mary would come, and then 3 stitches later, which would be right here, we would have the beginning of the C. But I think we are good to go, and for that the beginning is in white. So this will most probably be a little bit tricky for you to see. So here we go. So we go in the back loop in the bottom of our work and start with a single crochet, and we do this all the way, all around, so we can then, just like we did it for the other headbands, the first round is always just a regular round of single crochets, and then after that we can then go on with the waistcoat stitch, and I'll meet you once I'm at the end of this first round. So I'm around and I can now start with my very first waistcoat stitch round, and for that I'm going in between the next V's. I hope you can see it even though it's white, and I make my invisible transition like we had it for the previous tutorial. If I'm not losing the yarn. Here it is, and push everything together and then pull it up, and here we go. And from there I'm going to just go along Here we go. So some of them are apparently a bit harder to get, but I will get to it. So I will meet you once I then switch to red. Wow, this one was super tricky and fiddly, and I'm more than relieved that this round is now over, and I can now also go to red. But first, let's finish this. Okay, so now I have the red, and then I will just continue. The first red round is a full red round, and then of course leaving the spots for the different letters. So if you want to follow along, or if you want to make the same, or if you want to make yourself a headband with the Merry Christmas in which way you prefer, you do it exactly like we had it for the other tutorial, and I will meet you maybe somewhere in between or in the end. And I will also do something for this part here in the back where no typography is, because the typography then goes just from here to here. And for this middle part here, I will most probably add the star like I had it here, only without those bits and pieces, just a regular star. But we'll see. First, I'm just happy that I'm through with this with this very fitly beginning. So I will meet you once I am done with this, and then I will show you how to sew the two parts together, because we are then just flipping over and then putting both of them together, and I will see you then. Welcome back. How beautiful does this headband turn out? I am obsessed with this pattern. It looks so good. Here it was on paper. Here it is with our waistcoat stitch. Absolutely amazing. And now we can finish it off, because of course we can't leave it like this, obviously. So first I'm going to release the yarn from my hook and go in the top of my next stitch right here, put the loop over my hook and just pull it through. That should be all right, because now we are going to flip both parts together. So usually when you made like the back loops here for when you started the second pattern, then you will automatically have like a border where the headband falls right into, and like this we have all the sides on top of each other. So now we can basically start crocheting the two together, and this goes pretty easy. We are always going to work in the back loops or in the two inner loops that you see. So we have our loop on the hook. Make sure to have your working yarn in between the two sides, and then we go in the back loop of the first side and then take the back loop from the other side so that you have both of them on your hook, and then take the yarn and pull it through one loop after the other, and then slip stitch to finish it. And like this we continue all along. The stitch count should be the same, so we can then just go from back loop to back loop and combine the two sides together, and I'll meet you once I'm through. So as the opening closes more and more, you only have like a small little hole left, so the final loops can be a bit harder to get, but I'm sure you get it. Two more left. And the last one is usually the hardest, but this one worked really nice. And now you just in the end slip stitch, then cut the yarn, and we just pull it through. And the only thing left now would be to hide the yarn end on the inside. I am just going to go somewhere in here, pull it a bit tight, and then I'm going in there trying to somehow get behind some of the stitches like that, and a few more. And the rest I cut it. You can also like drag it to the inside, but the reversible headband is done. And just like that, you can switch to whatever motif you like best, the reindeers or the Merry Christmas. So if you want to make yourself a reversible headband just like this, make sure to measure your head in a way that it is a bit more loose. So in the end, when you have both of them attached together, you can still wrap it around your head. And like that, you would get a beautiful reversible headband with the motifs and the patterns that you like. Up next, I will show you how you can transform your beautiful waistcoat stitch headband into a even prettier and more beautiful hat. And for this, I'm going to use this headband here. The pattern you will find in the PDF that is linked in the description, of course. And what would be very helpful is that you get yourself one of the hats or beanies that you have. So just so in the end we know how long we have to make the top part of it. Of course, feel free if you want to later on add a pom-pom. Feel free to do that. I'm definitely going to place a pom-pom on mine. And for the hat part of this headband, now it gets a bit tricky with the words, I'm going to use this red. It's from Hobby, it's Amigo, and they say you need a 4 to 5 millimeter hook. I'm actually going to use a 4.5 millimeter hook. I also used a 4.5 for this headband. And to make it, we start by going in one of the waistcoat stitches. It doesn't matter which one, or in the front or in the back. In the end, they all will look basically the same. Then put the new yarn on your hook and just pull it through the stitch. And now we are going to flip so I can show you exactly where we are going to work in. So one stitch is always in one of the waistcoat stitches, and then instead of going into the next one, we are going into this back loop right here. You have it behind every stitch right here, right on top of these two strands here, and this is where we are going to place our first stitch for the top part in. And we are going to start with a bunch of foundation half double crochets. So you yarn over and then you turn your work and go into that upper back loop, whatever you want to call it. Yarn over again. Now you have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through just one. Yarn over and pull through all of the loops. And here you have your first stitch. Then yarn over, and then we are going in the bottom of this loop. Make sure to go through both of the loops and make our next foundation half double crochet. So 3 loops, yarn over, pull through just one, yarn over, pull through 3 loops, and like that we continue until we basically have almost reached the height of our hat. And I will meet you once we're there. Make sure to count the stitches that you have so that in the end, when we then complete all the other rounds, you know how many stitches you would have to do. And I'll meet you in a bit. So now I have 15 foundation half double crochets, and I think this is where I'm going to leave it. I mean, if you take a look at the bottom, and trust me, in the end this top part will be very stretchy. So to finish that top part, so I have to remember now 15 half double crochets, then we can make the end of this round, and we go back into the bottom stitch. You don't yarn over. So we go back into the bottom stitch, then yarn over and pull through, because now we are going to make 2 foundation single crochets. So first up you yarn over and pull through just 1 loop, and then yarn over and pull through 2. Then we go back into the bottom stitch and we make the same thing again. So you yarn over 2 loops, yarn over, pull through just 1, yarn over, pull through 2, and then our last 2 loops are 2 foundation slip stitches basically, or chains. So you go into the bottom stitch, 2 loops on your hook, and yarn over and pull through both of them, and go back into that last stitch, which is a bit fiddly, I know. Yarn over, pull through, and yarn over and pull through both of them. And like that we are going to make the top part of our hat a little bit smaller, so in the end it doesn't get that bulky around your head. Now we can turn our work, because now we are only going to work in the back loops, and for the half double crochets we are also going to work only in the 3rd loop, the one loop that is quite behind, but I will show you. So first up we go into the back loop of this last slip stitch or foundation slip stitch and make another slip stitch, then into the next one only in the back loop, slip stitch again. Then we had our single crochets, so we make 2 single crochets, first one in the back loop, then another one in the next back loop, and now we arrive at our 15 half double crochets. So we make half double crochets again, but only in the 3rd loop in the back, not in the 2 top loops. So yarn over, go under that behind loop, that 3rd loop, and just make a half double crochet in there. And we do this 14 more times in my case, or depending on how many stitches you have, and I'll meet you once I'm at the end of this round. So now I made 14. Our last and final one, the 15th, is like right where we connected the yarn through the waistcoat stitch here. So you yarn over and just place the last half double crochet up there or down there, depending on how you look at it. And then I'm going to place my working yarn to the front, and I'm going directly into this next back loop right here, where we on the other side placed our first half double crochet, or the foundation half double crochet. And then you pull the yarn tight so that you have like both of those loops very close to each other, yarn over and pull through all of them or both of them together. Pull everything a bit tight, because we really want to lock this stitch right in the back. And now let's flip it, or first let's take out the hook from our loop here. And now you can also see that the pattern with the waistcoat stitches continues in the front of our half double crochets, and the back is going behind it. And to continue now, we are skipping this waistcoat stitch here, and we are just going into the next one, grabbing our loop, and we are just pulling it through so that we can now start with our next stitches and continue our next round along. And I will show you how to do that. So you yarn over, and now again we are not going in the top loops, we are only going into those side loops in the front where we would then place our first half double crochet in. And again, it's always good to know your stitch count. I need 15, so make sure you have them. And I will meet you once I'm at the end of this top round here to show you once more how to go down and how to connect it. And then I will leave you to it, because for all the other rounds, this is all going to be the same. And like that, you can create a beautiful textured top part that looks perfectly together with the waistcoat stitch. And with those front loops, you can always see when there's just one left, you know you're at the end of your round of half double crochets, and from there you know what to do. It's 2 single crochets in that case the front loop, or when you take a look at it from the other side, in the back loop. So usually just the stitch or the loop that's right in front of you, and in the end we have 2 slip stitches. And don't worry, because this last one is always a bit buried below the other yarn, but you still have this loop here right on top that comes from turning. So the last loop, take it from there and yarn over and slip stitch, and that would even make this part a bit more going together and closing everything. And now we continue as we did it before, so only in the back loops, or in when you take a look at it from this side, from the front, first with 2 slip stitches. You don't have to chain anything in between. And then we have the 2 single crochets, and then again the same thing, the half double crochets in that front loop right here, instead of going into in one of the top 2 loops. And then again the last one is right here in front. And then from there we go into the next back bump here. So you take the working yarn, pull it in front, and go underneath it, pull everything tight together, and just slip stitch through it all. And from there we can then release it, turn your work, and where's our next? Here it is, and pull it through. And as you can see, you get a beautiful structured top. In the end, when this top part here is pulled together, then it will even be like more 3D looking. I absolutely love how this works and how beautiful you can extend the waistcoat headband into a hat, and I think it's absolutely gorgeous and beautiful. So have fun, go all around it, have fun with it, and I will meet you once I'm at the end here, so I can show you how to connect those beginning and end parts, and then of course finishing up with the top part. Bye. So now I reached the end. I will go down one last time just to close it, and then I will go up on the inside to get the two parts together. So and now we turn. Because now we can also connect to the same spot where we started. Like this. And now all we have to do is to bring those two sides together, and we do this the same way like I always put the things together. We always take the inner loops. In that case, we have the yarn in the middle of our work, and then we take up the first stitch here on the inside, and then here the next one, then yarn over and pull the yarn through, and then we just slip stitch and take the next one on both sides and then slip stitch through it, and this will give us a nice connection that is also very simple. And once we have that last one, pull out a bit of yarn and cut it, and now we yarn over and just pull the yarn through to secure it. What I will also do now is to take care of the yarn end from the beginning. Of course, I could have sewn it in, but I totally forgot about it, so let's just put it in. Here we go. And I can cut it. And now we turn our head, because it's not a headband anymore. It's already looking a lot like a hat. And we take our end yarn. Where is it? Here is it. And the yarn needle. And now all we have to do is to bring everything here together. And the way I will do it is that I will go always in the middle of our structure and from the top, and then through the bottom of the following, and then again from the top. So here was our beginning. One last in there. And now all you have to do is to drag on it. to close the top part of our hat. And if the gap is still a bit big, just like in my case, try to go around it a little bit more, and also try to go to the opposite side. So we can just stitch it together. And anyway, I am definitely going to put a pom-pom on it. So just do as you wish. It's all set and secure. And I will just place my end yarn on the inside. And like that, the top of the hat is done. And now the only thing missing is the pom-pom. So for the pom-pom, I'm going to use this Pom-Pom Magic pom-pom maker. I bought this in a French yarn store. If you don't have something like this, you can always use 2 toilet paper rolls. I have made videos where I showed this, especially for the pom-pom Santa Christmas hats. I'm going to link that up here. Just use the chapters to jump to the pom-pom part. But for this tutorial, I'm going to use this one here. And you take a piece of yarn and place it around like this, and then we make a little knot somewhere just to hold it like that. And now I'm going to take all 3 colors that I used for the headband slash hat and I will just wrap them around. Before cutting the yarn, I'm just going to release the little bow that I made. And now I will just pull that through. And now I'm going to make the bow here. You could have also made it like this. Maybe that's a good idea. I just changed my mind, which can happen. Let's just make it a little differently. And bring that through. And now we can just make a knot up here. Close it. And then we just put it out, pull everything out of it. And good and tight knot. And now what we are going to do is to basically cut it off or cut it open. And now I will also check the knot before continuing, because it really has to be super tight. Now I'm also doubling it up so that it is really close. And now we can start cutting it. So I think this is where I leave my pom-pom. I know it always takes a little bit of time, and I will just clean up this mess. And now all we have to do is to take it on the yarn needle, and from the top pulling it to the inside. Pull the yarn through. And since we still have the leftover yarn from where we put the top part together, we can now use this to secure the pom-pom on our head. And let's just make 3 or 4 secure knots. And then we take it again on the yarn needle and pull it through to the other side. So we're here. And now we just cut it at the length of our pom-pom, so later on no one will see it. And here's the full hat that used to be a headband, which is now a cute and super fun pom-pom hat. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my little bonus of the waistcoat stitch, and I hope that you are going to make so many pretty awesome things with it. And I really hope to see you back again next year for the next tutorials. That's right, it's a wrap when it comes to tutorials for this year. I will use the time in between the years to maybe do 1 or 2 vlog style videos for you, to tell you things about crochet. But the first full tutorial will come in the new year. And until then, I'm wishing you a Merry Christmas and of course an extra Happy New Year with a lot of happy crocheting. So if you don't catch me before the year ends, see you in the next year. Bye. It's a wrap. Merry Christmas.